struck me, Michelle, that when VP Harris was in Iowa, she talked about how this lawsuit against an FDA-approved drug threatens the future of all FDA decisions. Can you talk to us just a little bit about how the outcome of this lawsuit could potentially go beyond reproductive health care?
Well, what it does is it sets in motion that any decision that the FDA makes after peer review, after months, if not years of study, can become vulnerable to any particular coalition or group that simply doesn't like a particular prescription being in the marketplace. So people who are opposed to vaccines, even though vaccines have been critically important to our nation, such as polio vaccine, smallpox vaccines, et cetera. But one could be part of a community or a religious group that doesn't like vaccines being in the marketplace. There are people who have been opposed to COVID vaccines that could then trigger perhaps a judge being pressured or petitioned to make sure that those drugs are not in the marketplace. So the extent of this could be broad, and it's unheard of. And I think it's really important to note, and that in fact was conceded by the people who have brought this particular litigation, that this is the first time that the FDA has been petitioned, or there's a petition to a judge to overturn a decision by the FDA. One of the arguments that they're making is that the FDA rushed to get this drug to the marketplace. That's inaccurate. It's important that listeners and viewers understand that. This went through a 54-month review process the same year that it came into the market. Other drugs had undergone a 15-month review process. We know that this drug is safe as well.
I want to ask you about something else. Another headline I saw out of Texas, a man suing his ex-wife's friend for helping her obtain abortion pills to terminate a pregnancy last year. Abortion, of course, outlawed in the state. I mean, do you think we're going to start seeing more of these cases of restrictive abortion laws being used to help facilitate acts of what I think you can classify as revenge of abuse?
Well, sure we will. And in fact, it's being set in motion by the state's legislature. So if we think about the Texas law, SB 8, it provides individuals the opportunity to sue others that they perceive as aiding or abetting a person who has terminated a pregnancy. So there is being embedded in these laws this opportunity for people to go after and to sue individuals that have assisted a person in terminating a pregnancy. Now, that is very broad. There are no limitations on that. So it could be an Uber driver, a Lyft driver, a taxi driver. It can be a receptionist. It can be virtually anybody that they perceive as having somehow supported an individual in being able to achieve a pregnancy termination. And let's keep in mind that the United States is the deadliest place in the entire industrialized world to be pregnant. So in many of these cases, we could also be talking about people who are trying to help their friends to save their lives, right? So we're not just talking about cases where an individual may want an abortion for any reason at all, which that should be allowable for, but could be instances where there is life at stake, could be an instance where rape or incest also happens to be at stake.
Michelle Goodwin, we were running out of time, and I was so concerned that we weren't going to get to this latest stat about how maternal death rates rose 40% in 2021 compared to 2020. An absolutely devastating headline when you think about it on its own, and especially in this context. Michelle Goodwin, as always, thank you so much.